Hello, folks. This is Apple Geek, and here we are once again with another episode of the Un-Stable Reactors. We're down one person today. We weren't sure if he was going to make it. Let's Watch Ponies is not here tonight. He might join in a bit later, might not. Not sure. But anyway, we've got myself and, as usual, Capron and Do You Want to Build the Universe and Johnny Fireflame. Welcome, everyone. So here we are to finally talk about the season 7 finale and possibly just season 7 in general here. Kind of some recap, look backs at the season and general nostalgia and whatnot. And yeah, sorry it took so long to get this done, but just schedules have been crazy since the season ended. So, but here we are.
Yay.
Indeed.
Hey. Hi.
Hi. Hi.
So, we finally meet the mysterious and fabled and legendary Starswirl the Bearded.
Yes.
Yep. Initial thoughts.
Everything. Everyone thought they would be.
Initial thoughts? What a jerk.
He's a wise old man, foretold through the scrolls as he's a huge douche.
He was the wisest and most smart of his generation. He created over 100 spells of unknown. He's a total prick.
Well, he just never learned the magic of friendship, to be clear. That's why.
Yeah. That was made clear. And like I said in my commentary, keep in mind, 0 time for him has passed from the point at which they were attempting to seal the shadow of Pony of Shadows away. So it was a very heated, emotional moment, and basically it just got, as far as they're concerned, got immediately undone. And he's basically super peeved at Twilight over it. So yeah, wasn't exactly the best timing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I understood him. Put yourself in that shoes. You thought this was the only option. You seal yourself away with the ultimate evil you believe, and then suddenly someone just takes you both out and was like, "What? Why?
What
you do this all?" It's like, I understood his. I'm sorry.
And the entire time, Twilight was trying to, do the whole "senpai, please notice me" routine with him. And
I'm so glad I thought to say that in my reaction. That was perfect.
Story senpai.
Senpai noticed me.
I completed one of your spells, senpai. Here you go.
It's funny how that was only brought up once.
I am actually kind of surprised how they didn't say, "Oh, hey, Twilight completed the spell that you were so baffled about."
I know, and it never, that never actually went anywhere, because it just said, she became an alicorn by completing one of your spells, and they didn't say which one. He didn't bat an eye. He didn't react in any way to that. It's just like, okay, whatever, move on.
Yeah, good for you. Not even wait, did Celestia made you a princess? Not nothing. It's like, oh, I guess she just does that, or
I think it's because that he was just so absorbed and concentrating on the fact that the Shadow Pony was loose. Everything else is irrelevant until this is done.
Yeah, so he's nothing like us. He's nothing like us. Twilight has wings. We must question this. No.
It's like bigger priorities going on there. But it would have been fun to loop back around to that. But that would have been too much in the episode. That's another story for another day. So hopefully they'll come back to that. I would love to come back to that in season 8, honestly.
Yeah, I can see a scene where they just meet each other and just we didn't really get a time to talk during the situation. So you have wings now.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, about that. Was she high?
Starswirl needs to go to a Starswirl convention. It needs to happen.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's true.
He needs to see the Starswirl Traveling Museum.
I need to see Twilight's cosplay of him.
Yes, the Halloween costume. Yes,
absolutely. This old stuff. What are you thinking?
And you know what would be really funny is if she actually did cosplay as Starswirl, and Starswirl for some unknown reason we'd be like, you know what, this bell is not particularly in the right position.
Yeah, I have specifically 26 stars. How dare you?
And the stitching of this one star is completely unacceptable. This is totally not me.
Really.
And my beard is not that fluffy. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this.
Oh my! I just had a thought. Star Swirl's first encounter with Flurry Heart.
Oh. It's like,
oh yeah,
that could be fun.
oh god.
I can see that going a lot of different directions. I can see it be like him getting like super exasperated that this fluffy little bundle that's like, you know, super powered, but or it could go the other way and he could like start teaching her spells and the parents would be like, no, stop it, we can't control her already.
What this magic does.
I would like Star Swirl to actually like try to mentor like Trixie, and so there can be like, you know, Twilight and Trixie and Star
I would
Swirl
love that. Anything with Trixie, I love.
Yeah, and Trixie getting really. I was about to say like Trixie getting like really, really powerful for some reason, and like Twilight for some reason being jealous or something. I don't know. It would be kind of interesting.
Well, I think it's okay for Trixie to learn some more actual magic.
Yeah, she's going
or at least learn better control because she hasn't gone yet.
Yeah, it's kind of like now that she's taken that step and has done an actual legitimate spell, you know she's not going to stop.
No.
So since the cat's out of the bag already, you might as well at least try to help her control it a little better.
So many
save her from herself.
No, let's say, like, you know the quill and sofa guy. There needs to be a shop right next to that shop where it's like Trixie trying to sell teacups, and that could just be her performance. That's a quill and sofa guy. There you go.
So many teacups, so little time.
Oh my word! Yes, but no,
so many comics made about it.
I was gonna say, I'm sure it's just a purely fan thing, but I know there was kind of a thing where fans are trying to make Luna the mentor of Trixie, and I still think that would be kind of cool, but I don't know that will.
I don't
really
see
happen.
it, to be honest.
What interactions has they have with each other?
That's what I said. It's just a fan thing. I've seen a lot of like Trixie Luna artwork. Is you know, I don't know. I think it's mainly born out of the fact that she's Twilight's rival, and therefore should go to the other princess for instruction, since Luna and Celestia are in a way rivals.
Like a Goku and Vegeta thing, you know, you have someone pranked. No,
yeah.
Like people want. Like,
speaking of the Royal Sisters, you know what else I would love to see? Like for Star Wars, for like through season 8, to like, I wonder what happened since I went into Limbo. Just, Luna, you did what? It's just.
Yeah, we definitely waiting for those. Just those reactions.
Yeah. Because
why is Discord still around? It's like that sort of thing.
Well,
I don't think you even know about Discord. What do you?
Well, yeah, it's unclear at this point. The event where Celestia and Luna had to seal him away obviously came long after Star Swirl was banished to the void.
That's true. Yeah.
So we don't know if Star Swirl had ever actually met Discord
or even know about him.
Or knows about it. Yeah, we don't know that. I still want to see the two interact because it's going to be amazing. But it's unanswered questions as to their current knowledge of each other. So
yeah. Speaking of which, do you guys remember the fan theory that was a long time ago that said that Star Swirl eventually became Discord?
Yeah, I hate that theory, and that's been thoroughly debunked now. So
yeah, it's impossible at this point.
No, it's alternative Star Swirl.
Now the new theory is Star Swirl is his brother.
No. Okay.
Alternative facts.
So, just back to the topic at hand. Okay. So thoughts on well, since we talked about Star Swirl, I mean, thoughts on the pillars. We finally got to more or less officially meet all the pillars. We finally got voices for Somnambula and Rockhoof, which both were really good.
I think me and Cameron are very agreeing on this fact. Somnambula's voice
is amazing.
It's amazing.
Absolutely perfect.
It's like a European-esque type. It's kind of hard to actually match to where it comes from. But regardless, it's awesome. And yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to say Russian, but it's not quite right for that either. It's
like the second I heard that accent, it's like, what are you speaking and how can I learn? It's just it sounds so good.
Yeah, but I know people were some people were pointing at the Legends of Magic comics, because the comics basically kind of expanded on the stories that we got in the episodes, and they're saying, hey, you should really read the comic about Somnambula because you get like a lot more of her personality, but it wasn't really, because basically it was Pinkie Pie in the comic reading the story about Somnambula, and Pinkie kind of infusing her own personality onto Somnambula. So it wasn't really a match for the way Somnambula actually is. So we actually got to see a little bit of her true personality in this finale. So
Yeah,
so that's cool.
Yeah, lesson learned. Pinkie Pie is not good lore bounder.
Well, she certainly makes it interesting, though. You got to give her that. So.
Give her that, yeah.
Yeah. But
I really appreciate going back to the pillars in general. I like how that they are trying that they at least kind of tried to give each of the pillars like just a bit of time to themselves. Like there were some of them who had only a few lines. Like poor Mistmane, I would love to hear more from her.
Yes, he was my favorite story.
Yeah, and Rockhoof, Scandinavia represent.
Yes,
I really like him as well, and I appreciate it. He also he was the one who started telling the story about Stettin, and just like they try to give each pillar like a small time to themselves because there wasn't really any time for anything else because of the plot.
Yeah.
But a part of me still wish that we had just a bit more focus on them, just a tiny bit more.
Yeah, I think season 8 is going to have an episode tailored to them or something. So
or at least them with one of the 6.
Or like the CMC meeting them. That would also be really good.
Yes. Oh, Applebloom and Rockhoof. I will buy everybody popcorn for that. I will pay money to see that.
Oh god! Okay, just to have a pretty mental picture in your head, you all know how big Rockhoof is. It's just tiny Applebloom right next to him.
Yeah,
that's adorable.
No, he's gonna dwarf Big Mac, and Big Mac, Big Mac is gonna start to like lose his self-confidence or something. I don't know. I just see that being very awkward somehow.
Oh my god, I can actually imagine an episode like that. Like Rockhoof comes to visit, and everyone, oh Rockhoof, you're so big and strong. Big was just like, what are you?
It's a giant run. But my mind is going places. I'm not going to go down those paths. But I was going to say, as far as the plot goes, I do have to say I like the way that they started the finale. I mean, like basically it was exposition, but it was like straight into this journal that Sunburst had found. Like basically no pause between the episode 24 and the beginning of the finale. It just like goes right into the stuff where they're revealing it. They're wasting no time getting into the thick of the story. So
yeah, they could have easily have had Sunburst walk in, say, "Hey guys, I found this journal in the secret barrel or whatever." It's just,
exactly.
No, they just this is what's in it already done.
Yeah, so no wasting time on that. Just So. So that was really good. But yeah, I actually think they did really good at it. And as much as there's a lot more stuff that we wanted story on, I think they did pretty well to stay on point throughout the entire finale. Like I didn't feel like there was any pacing issues or anything like that. It was just
it was pretty much spot on, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to say about the whole Sunburst thing and the book. It's like, he found that in that barrel, right? Like that blind barrel thing. Is that pretty much what is the case? Therefore, I mean, when you really think about it, I mean, we were able to get Star Swirl back because of a blind bag.
Yeah. If they do not come out with a blind bag series that has Star Swirl in it, I will be very surprised.
I'm just imagining they're going to be making blind bags that are shaped like barrels now that contain like little tiny little things.
It's kind of like those
merchandising
chocolate eggs where you find toys inside, and instead it's just a tiny barrel.
Merchandising.
All right, so
I can't. How the heck did the Journal of Star Swirl appear to get into a freaking art antique shop?
Exactly, that is a very good mystery.
Yeah, that's something I hope we're gonna get answers.
I've seen. I've heard enough stories about the crazy places that people find like classic cars and other antiques, like stuff just surfaces seemingly out of nowhere, and wondered how the heck did it ever get here. It's crazy, but it happens. I mean, that is realistic, believe it or not. So yeah.
Okay, can I ask another thing about the finale? What do we think of Stygian / the Pony of Shadows? Like before and after redemption.
It's hard to tell.
What do you mean by
we got
that?
so little of his actual story.
What do we think of how they presented the Pony of Shadows in both, of course, in design and like everything about him, and then after like we find out about him, and then he goes back to like friendship and stuff. Like, what do you guys think of how they presented this Pony of Shadows?
Well, when it comes to a design, I like the design. I liked how he had a little bit of a Venom feel to him. Like he can just extend his body. Like I thought that was awesome.
It was so cool.
It was, but I have to wonder. It didn't register while I was initially watching, but afterwards, I was wondering, like, it has the same vibe to it as the corrupt changeling look with the all black. I mean, it didn't have holes in the legs and stuff, but there were kind of some like ridges in the wings and stuff. So I'm just wondering, is there some correlation there, and is that sort of a subtle thing? Because they never came back to the whole changeling thing. That story thread just got left dangling at the end of the season. There was no ending point for that, and I'm wondering if that's somehow going to tie into this in the next season.
And Johnny, you had that like idea to where like the Pony Shadows or that magic was somehow related to like the Tantabus and also to darn it, what I'm talking about.
Because okay, that is where I my personal headcanon came into place about the Pony Shadows, because Stygian was left alone by his friends. Like he felt he was betrayed. He was in this alone time. And what did he say in the episode when they met him at the temple? He said that the darkness came to him when no one else would. It spoke to him, it listened to him, and from there he listened to it, and he got powers from it. What happened with Luna? Luna felt like she was left alone, that she was betrayed by Celestia, and who else but the darkness came in and helped her, like by becoming Nightmare Moon and basically all shadows and stuff. I think that there could be a connection.
Basically,
I was gonna say, and we still haven't seen Chrysalis's backstory, but something similar could have happened to her as well, because clearly they used to be the form that they're in now, and something happened to corrupt them. So
it's like the absence of love caused Chrysalis to happen. So maybe something like the absence of friendship was something similar to Stygian, to where like there's something like interlinked with all of these villains together, to where there's like one super villain. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, but I think that there is this underground darkness faction that is just there corrupting anything that they can get their creepy little hands on, because like, oh, this one is alone. Snatch.
Yeah. Well,
it's like the opposite of the map.
So basically, it's just like Miraculous Ladybug. Y'all haven't watched that.
There's been plenty of.
I haven't seen that at all.
There's been plenty of theorizing about how Luna, didn't just go dark. Like there was an evil entity that overtook her. And that was never that was never truly confirmed in actual canon. But given what we just talked about here, is what Stygian said at the end of this finale here. The end of the season, that is much more plausible. Not 100% confirmed, but strongly hinted as that's what happened.
Yeah.
And also, don't forget about Starlight Glimmer and the whole anger episode, to where like this anger was like an actual physical manifestation.
Based magic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So where maybe there is like this underlying thing behind all of this, and that would be a really cool thing to explore in the season 8. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to try and pull at weird straws. I don't want to try and be like game theory. But if you, thank you, Cameron. If you I don't know if I remember correctly, but at the end of the finale, when they finally like pull Stygian out of the Pony of Shadows, the Pony of Shadows form still seemed like it had its own form of sentience. Like it was still like alive in sort of a sense. Like it was looking around and then panicked and then was sucked inside. So it seemed like that form had a mind of its own, and Stygian was just like the main force driving it. It's like, you know what I mean?
A pony theory.
And that's
a pony theory.
Absolutely. And that's what I said. It's this whole thing of it's a dark being and sentient, but that's why it's like Venom from the Spider-Man universe, because it's like a symbiote. It requires a host to bond to reach its full potential. but it's its own intelligence, its own entity, be a separate
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
You could use that idea for like Sombra too. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Is there
Yeah,
anything
it's
else we can talk about with the finale?
the
sirens!
We can talk about this pony right here. We can talk about this pony.
Yes, we'll get to that. I should have written down. I was just somebody said, maybe think of something else that I wanted to bring up, and
The siren?
good. No, and it was something in regards to Stygian and the form, whatever. And now I can't think of what it was. Darn it!
That happens from time to time.
I should just stop talking and type when that happens, so I've got my notes. But well, anyway, yeah. Before we get to Starlight, just wanted to at least touch on Twilight, because this was largely a Twilight-focused story. I mean, this is all about Twilight finally getting to meet her personal hero, and and all the stuff, and then it backfires on her in a big way. Just completely throwing caution to the wind. I mean, she basically like role reversed with Starlight in this, and that Starlight became the one who was like, should we really be using all this crazy magic? What could happen? And Twilight's like, we're gonna be fine. Just go cast this epic spell.
Twilight being reckless and Starlight being the voice of reason. What a role reversal we have here.
But it's still like, it doesn't feel contrived. It doesn't feel like it was forced. It's still like it felt like it still made sense according to their characters.
Dude, if you met your hero in real life, especially if you thought he was gone for over 1,000 years, I think you would probably follow what he says do, even if he is a douche.
As we have joked about it like at the beginning of this episode, but she was like in a senpai complex something.
Twilight is a flawed character. We went over this in the movie. She's not supposed to be like, I understand friendship. Where's the story?
We went over this in Fame and Misfortune.
Whatever. Lessons can be forgotten in very, very interesting scenarios. This was just one of them.
If it fits the plot.
Yeah, I thought it was well executed though.
I thought it was good. Yeah.
Well, but then for Starlight, I mean, to see her, and this really kind of hit home for her too, of like that whole thing about is this the way you really think about this? Like, well, what if Star Swirl had been around when I was around? Would I have just been banished too?
More than likely, yes.
That scene that cut me. Yes. That cut me right there. That hit really hard.
Starlight didn't just tug it out heartstrings. She pulled it out of her chest and stomped it down to the ground.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is at least how it felt for me. It's like, good God, that's a stab right there.
Yeah.
But it is real. It's a real thing, and it seems a bit extreme. But I mean, drawing real life parallels from that, it's just the overall concept of if you can't agree with somebody, it's just you just want to get rid of them and throw them away so that you don't have to be around them anymore. I mean, that's what is it like to treat somebody like that when they don't deserve that? That's not how we should be thinking about others. So
yeah, he's like Star Swirl sort of seemed like the bloodthirsty general type, like dehumanizing Stygian to where he was like nothing more than something to be destroyed with, rather than something that actually needs to be understood further, that type of thing. So
yeah, I really wish we could have known a little bit more about the build up to that, because I mean, it was just a very quick exposition, like overviews, like this is the cliff notes of what happened. We didn't really get to see all the stuff that went into it. I get the feeling that basically it was Star Swirl that just jumped to conclusions. And then somehow the others were not as willing to believe it, but they kind of were convinced by Star Swirl or something.
Out of the Power Ranger group, he is the Red Ranger. They must listen to him. The Stygian Ranger, Green Ranger went rogue. He's part of the cult.
Wait, so who's Zordon in this?
No.
Is the map Zordon?
The map was Zordon.
There you go.
Oh wait, the big head is Zordon? I don't watch Power Rangers. They didn't broadcast it here in Denmark.
But yeah, the main thing we need to understand is that he didn't understand friendship, so we can easily say when he saw Stygian do that, he jumped to the conclusion that he was just trying to do it for his own selfish gain. Instead of being a friend and trying to talk to him, he just jumped to that conclusion and stuck with it. Friends talk things through. He's not a friend. He's a guy with people.
To me, it just shows that the problem of communication has been a consistent thing throughout the pony timeline. Ponies are horrible at talking to each other. It's just a fact.
And, you know, I should say that this is like a trope that I usually hate, this whole misunderstanding trope. I mean, that's pretty much it was pretty much the entire point of the finale was just like this misunderstanding where if, you know, Star Swirl would have just asked him, then it would have all been settled. But the way it was executed with this finale, it worked. I mean, usually I hate that idea, but, you know, they made it work.
The episode was even structured that way. In the beginning of the episode, you get the backstory about how the Pony of Shadows was. You don't know who this guy who turned into Pony of Shadows is. So we're left out with just as much information as Twilight and the rest of the guys were. And the only person to talk out of was Starlight. It was like, okay, but what else, though? She's one who asks more questions about, did you do this? Did you do that? And I like that. It was even structured that way. So it was all
did you even try to communicate, to like discuss things?
And they're like, no. There you go.
Wait, was that an option?
I didn't even know that was an option. That was evil.
Do you guys think, just trying to thinking about this at a high level, to me, it kind of feels like Starlight has kind of completed another chapter of her personal story with this. Like, basically season 6 was about her, being a student of Twilight's and trying to learn how to be friends, how to make friends, and whatever.
And
at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of the season, she graduates as a student of Twilight's. I mean, she's still hanging around, still doing things, but like officially, she is no longer a student, like, following all Twilight's lesson plans and stuff. And it seems like she has done well in terms of her stepping forward and maturing personally and being a good friend and even overcoming. I've seen people in the comments just continually bash Starlight about how she just keeps making the same mistake over and over again. But to me, in this finale, it seems clear that she has overcome some of those faults.
Starlight making. What was the mistake Starlight was making?
Yeah, like, well, I don't get that either.
I was like, Starlight
they just like going back and falling back on old things, like, using magic as a quick fix to do things and whatever. I mean, she did do that several times, but even in this season. But I think it's clear in the finale that it's like, okay, since she was the voice of reason against using magic to all this, it's like, okay, well, clearly she's learned something, so, but it just kind of feels like with, and not just that stuff too. I mean, in terms of like being a friend, learning how to, use magic appropriately, but also just dealing with her own demons from her past, that was highlighted once again in how she was able to empathize and try to connect with Stygian, and because she had been through something similar. So it kind of feels to me like they finally have, like, maybe we finally closed that chapter, like we've come full circle. So maybe next season we won't continually have, just about every episode where we see Starlight, there will be some reference to her past misdeeds. I think maybe we're finally moving on from that.
Yeah, I hope that they finally stop doing that again. How many times this season have they brought up her past? Like, I want to count it. Like,
so somebody counted for me.
Many times.
Yeah.
Oh, we need the machine to go ding every time they mention it. Just ding.
Because this has been a thing since the second movie of the Equestria Girls. Oh, hey, remember that time you nearly, took over the school and you brought it over to Ponyville? Oh, no offense, Sunset. None taken. And that continued on throughout the other movie.
Water under the bridge.
And then in the finale, Starlight got her first no offense.
Yeah.
Just like that's just been a joke, a running gag.
Yes. You know what? To me, that just proves that the Equestria Girls is part of the canon. That they use the same joke.
It's definitely part of the canon now.
They're denying because
can we talk about why it's definitely part of the canon?
Finally.
So we finally
Yeah.
saw the beginning of what led to Rainbow Rocks, with Star Swirl chucking the sirens into the human world. Interestingly, interestingly though, and there's lots of questions about that, because he just basically ripped open a portal in midair. It was not using like that mirror thing or whatever. So the story about the mirror is still incomplete. We don't know where that came from or how it works or why or whatever. Clearly he was working on portal spells. So, the question, I guess, I feel like it's going to be one of two things. Either he created the mirror, or the mirror was actually like a natural thing, like not in its fancy frame and whatever, but like it was a natural crystalline portal thing, like a naturally occurring portal that he like fine-tuned and encased in this mirror and stuff, and then did experiments with it and to try to figure out how it worked, and then built spells based on that.
Yeah, he found it in a barrel somewhere. He's just found it in a barrel.
No. It could be like this.
Oh, check this out. All right, cool. It goes somewhere.
Hey, look, this ancient mirror goes to different dimensions. Awesome.
Yeah, I love these mystery barrels, man. They can kill anything.
Now, if anything, it could just be like this entity that like exists in the world, and he decided to like trap it inside the mirror so he could use it to his own, whatever, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Hey, what's this? A robot with invisibility. Awesome.
Yeah, but I'm kind of believing that the mirror essentially was around first, because since that like on its own only like opened every once every 30 moons, the natural thing, like you'd be able to open portals at will. So I think he like found that somehow and learned from it, or maybe that was an early creation of his or something. He's moved on from there. I don't know, but yeah, he sent the sirens through. Question is, did they enter the human world in? Was it a portal through time and space, or just space? I mean, did they end up in the human world, like over 1,000 years ago, or did they get zapped to what was more like relatively shortly before the events of Rainbow Rocks?
In Rainbow Rocks, it seemed like they had been there for a long time.
Yeah, they were just like they were fed up with what they can doing every day and just like. And then when he finally saw a question, imagine just like that face on that smile on her face was like, I haven't seen this in years. Yes, finally,
finally, my drug.
Yeah, but are we talking a few years, or are we talking literally over 1,000 years? Like, did their immortality come with them, or something?
It's hard to say, because there were gems that were embedded in their chest became necklaces. So, and when they're broken, they just lose their voices in singing.
Were they embedded in the chest? I thought they were in like.
No. It was in the chest.
Yeah, I thought they were just embedded in their chest, and then they become. I can look it up.
I missed that detail.
I want to look it up now as well.
Yeah.
I am a bit ashamed. I am a bit sad that they didn't have any like voice lines. That would have been so cool to hear them talk again. It was like, maybe there wasn't enough time.
Embedded in the chest.
It'd be really weird listening to Sonata have that really bubbly, sort of cute voice come out of that like monstrous, thing. Yeah. They're very strange. It could be, I don't know. It would kind of like ruin the flow of the episode.
You guys are trying to attack us.
What would have been even better is to have one of the. What would have been even better is to have one of the pillars chuck a taco at her to distract her.
That would be good. Throw a taco through the portal, we'll all follow through.
It's like they look around. What can I do? What can I do? What can distract her? Oh, taco.
And then from there on in, that's not his love for tacos would forever be
legendary.
That is another fact, that the sirens had been in the human world enough for Sonata to learn about Taco Tuesday. Like, that's actually a thing I haven't seen many really bring up. It's like you don't learn about the concept, and ideas like things like Taco Tuesday like that. It's like, wait, what is this thing? Oh, it's that sort of thing? Okay. And like Sonata is the only one who cared enough to really know what it is that it means. Sorry, it's tangent.
Yeah, you got to wonder like how the hell Sunset actually survived at the beginning. Like, did she sleep inside like the gym, like janitor closet or something?
Yeah, it's unclear at this point. But I
think all in all about the season finale, I think we all can agree it's one of the best.
Yeah.
I'd say top 3.
Yeah, I mean,
I would say top 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't honestly know. It seems like Twilight's Kingdom has just something magical about it. I think it's the song and the Dragon Ball Z fight together, but like that song is amazing. And there was just like something magical about that finale. But this one, it's kind of hard to judge.
Because it's like more of like it's more finale of a setup for the next season. Just like, hey, look at all this new stuff you're going to be expecting. Kind of like
it's
the season
a
3
different
finale.
type of finale.
It's like, oh, what's going to happen next? But the season 4 finale is like, here it is. You already know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it could have been a series finale.
I'd accept that as a series finale.
Season 5 could have been as, or wait, is this season 5? No, season 6.
No. I think you mean season 5, where like
season 5 at the end where they're hugging at the end. Yeah.
It was season 5. Yes. It's starting to blur together. So yeah, it's like with the pan out and everybody's looking directly at the camera. It's like if we didn't already know season 6 was coming, I mean, like it's over. I mean, we're done.
Oh no! And next year is apparently the year where everything is going to be crazy with Pony. Apparently. So,
yeah.
That would be crazy.
For me, and I know I said this before, but it is so hard to rate these finales because basically, 4, 5, 6, 7, each one of them has been phenomenally epic in its own way. It's like comparing apples to oranges, trying to rate them next to each other. They're each special in their own way, and I mean, I would say all 4 of those are on a whole different level than the first three seasons. I mean, season 1 wasn't even really a finale. Okay, we got the gala episode, but
I never understood that finale. Like,
yeah, it wasn't really
like a finale.
Yeah, it was just like an end of series episode.
Yeah, the show basically just stopped airing for a while. There was no true finale. Season 2, we had the wedding, which was
great,
which is pretty awesome. Season 3. It was rushed, clearly. Single episode, short season. I mean, the bombshell at the end was ridiculous. I wish to this day I could have recorded a reaction to that because I was completely shocked. I had no idea what was coming.
Yeah.
John Doc DXE broke that day.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember you were standing there. You were like sitting there staring at the screen for a while.
Never
and then you
blinking.
Stopped. And then you had like your phone, and you showed the phone to like the camera or something just to show how much time had passed.
Oh yeah.
I just screamed when I saw it.
I did that for 2 reasons. I have a friend named Will, and he was like teasing me. I showed my phone. It's like, this is who I'm calling. I called him, and then I just had my reaction just fully flow. Just like, that's what I believe. This is what I think.
I just remember. I don't think I have ever. When I saw the season 3 finale with what happened at the end, I was stunned. I was sitting there, literally eyes wide as open as they could have been, jaw literally hanging open. I mean, this full cliche, and I don't think I've ever been so completely shocked and blown away by the ending episode of any season of any TV show or whatever that I've ever seen before. I mean, that was so far out of left field. I was just gray matter everywhere.
You got lucky because everybody knew that this was coming.
I heard it was ruined for most reactors.
It wasn't just ruined. It was scared the crap out of us. Just people who were interested in the fandom to begin with. It's like what are they going to do with her? Yeah, it was a pretty long hiatus after that because of the fact it was only 13 episodes. Because of the fact that how many episodes are allotted to a series, and that's why season 3 was only a certain fixed. Yeah, they're limited to that amount.
Yeah.
But it scared us a lot.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. For me, I'm spoiled because for me it's just like, okay, that is the most epic thing that has ever happened ever. Okay, season 4, what do you got for me? Holy crap, we get Celestia Luna backstory.
Yeah, I was about to say, you were talking about like the season 1, finale not really being anything, but we did get a return of Harmony in the right next to it, and that opener.
It's sort of the made up.
Let's just say that you would not have wanted to see me when I watched Return of Harmony for the first time. It was Yeah, it was bad. It was worse than anything I could possibly imagine because John Delancey is like Star Trek.
I
Star
think
Trek
I
Hero
was
is finally here.
people who had never seen Star Trek, and it's like,
Oh God,
I knew nothing about it, nothing about John Delancey. I just sat there like, oh, he seems like a cool villain. And then I see like reactions and stuff, like opinion people online. It's like, oh my God, it's John Delancey, it's Q, it's Star Trek. It's like, what?
That was the moment when it was like, yep, I'm one of these people now. I'm apparently one of these because that was just too amazing. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, I just thinking like from. I was just trying to summarize some of my thoughts from season 4. I mean, season 4, obviously, just when I thought I couldn't be any more shocked after Magical Mystery Cure, then the season 4 finale happened. And I'm sitting there, and it's like, okay, T-Rex blows up the tree. I'm like, okay, kick his butt. And then 3 seconds later,
you're doing it.
Actually do it.
Sure.
I remember John's reaction. It was like, kick his ass. I remember you saying that.
And it was like, yeah, just like, dude, that was my favorite tree.
Yeah.
My favorite tree in all media.
I know.
Right, all of media.
But epic battle aside, I still think T-Rex is like been one of the pretty much the best villain in the entire series because I mean he was full blown rotten to the core, evil, take over the world, take over everything. Like nobody could touch the guy. He did it all on his own. I mean, he was going all out.
I love him.
Yeah, I still think
freaking good.
Well, I mean, right now, I think the all-time villain still has to be Diamond Tiara's mother, followed by.
No, Sven Gallop.
Oh, yeah, too. That you got to add him too.
No, Angel Bunny. You
know, we're gonna be here all day if we keep.
Yeah, I know that, but it's,
sorry.
Come on, everyone knows the Maniac was a great villain.
but no,
surely not a one-off.
Aside from the epic DBZ battle, I mean, just the what season 4 did for Twilight was phenomenal. I mean, that was such a clear-cut story, a nice overarching storyline, a closed chapter. You know, now it's like she figured out like what her place is and where she goes from here. That to me was like just such a perfect, huge step forward in that regard. And then of course, season 5, time travel. I love a good time travel story. So always have, always will. So that was great. And then of course, seeing Starlight, come around and be the awesome pony that we now know and love. Well, some of us, not everybody in the family recognizes that, but that was awesome. Season 6. There we got to see Starlight stand out on her own and shine with some of these other misfits. The Suicide Squad, got some
air Suicide Squad. Yeah, they've all done something. And one thing bad at some point.
So that was awesome. It's like, okay, we've got the backup team essentially fixing everything because the main 6 all been captured and stuff. That was awesome. And now season 7 with the return of the Pillars and Star Swirl, all this huge amount of world building that we got out of this. Listen, each of these finales is epic and awesome in its own way. You can't really rate one over the other. I can't rate one over the other. They're all awesome.
It's like trying to figure out which is the best episode or something like my top 10. I can't do it anymore. If I have to do like top 15 or top 20 in order to actually do like a list justice or like have like honorable mentions because it's really hard. I mean, right now, perfect pair, number 1, followed by Crusaders of the Lost Mark. But from there on, it's like, there's so many good choices.
Yeah,
that it's so hard to figure out exactly which one's the best.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of good episodes and good choices, how about we speak of that season in general?
The season in general. How the season was in general to us.
My segue into that was going to be that there's been these labels that the fandom is kind of associated with one particular season or another. I'm not sure if there's ones for the earlier seasons, but I remember hearing that season 5 was the season of feels, just because there's so many feelsy episodes going on in there. Season 6 became the season of ships, as we all know, and then season 7. I know the family was obviously a big focus in the season, but I'm going to go with, in general, it was the season of callbacks because they had dumped about 100 metric tons of, lore callbacks to earlier seasons, going like every single season all the way back to season 1. I mean, whether it's background pony cameos or mentions of past events or flashbacks or whatever it's been. It's been all over the place in season 7. It's been fantastic.
That's why you don't really have to say family, because family in itself is a callback. So like the whole perfect pair thing, that's a callback. Everything related to that's a callback. You know, Twilight and her parents, which we have not seen in forever, they finally got to appear, and they were awesome.
I love the fact we got to see the whole family. Twilight.
Love that so much. Yeah, that was so good.
Twilight, it was so great. And the fact
that
Cadence
much better than the voices they got in like the season finale, the season premiere of like season 6, I think it was.
Yeah, and in that episode they were voiced by was it Twilight
Tara and Andrew Francis?
Yeah, so this is the same voice actors for Twilight and Shining Armor, and it kind of makes sense because you'd think siblings fan would have similar voices, but I am very glad that they swapped out the voice actors for this episode because it differentiates them better, makes their characters stand more on their own. So
yeah, it was much appreciated from my angle, at least.
Yeah. So one of very few times where I actually feel like a voice recast is a significant improvement. So
yeah.
But
is there any other episode that you would personally like to highlight from the season, guys?
The
Daybreaker episode was great.
This entire season, like, there's so much to say. Like, I still say, like, lightning struck like 3 times with the perfect pair, then Royal Problem, and also what was the song that I really really like with the
Flawless?
Flawless. That episode. Fame and Misfortune. I think that's also another lightning strike moment because that song was amazing, and that entire thing was like just stabbing at some of the aspects of the fandom that needed to be stabbed at just a little bit.
Twilight was better without wings.
Yeah, there was that, and then there's Fame and Misfortune. What was the other? Well, I guess Once Upon a Zeppelin kind of went there too. Poked fun at like conventions and some of the fandom type activities.
Oh, was that Stranger Than Fan Fiction?
The Quibblepants Pants one was also that
was last season. But they kind of Stranger Than Fan Fiction was sort of like a fun acknowledgement of some of the bickering and stuff that we do, and obviously the convention scene and stuff like that. It's kind of acknowledgement of some of these things, but it's a more gentle kind of hint nudge nudge. Fame and Misfortune became much more of a I don't know if I want to say a slap in the face, but it's more a little bit firmer. Like, hey guys, let's be real here. That thing. I know obviously the fandom's divided as a controversial episode, whatever. I take it all in stride perfectly because I mean we are flawed, and we all have things that we need to learn from and improve on, and that's what the show is all about.
No, honestly, I smiled at the entire episode because I know the people who would probably take a little bit of offense to that particular episode, and just thinking of those people getting all butthurt really just made me smile a little bit. Just a little bit. I don't know.
People who found the humorous, like the self-aware stuff, then there are people who were just super offended. It's like, oh, how dare they? Like, they are good. They're ragging down on us. Here comes the pitchforks and stuff. Yeah. And then the third part is like, I don't know. I'm just happy to be here.
There's a defined line between making fun of yourselves and laughing with each other and borderline telling you should be you are wrong and we are right. And the perfect example is a Teen Titans Go episode, in fact.
I was about to say Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters 2016. That entire
Well, in Teen Titans Go, there's an episode where Teen Titans Go guys react to their counterparts. They're like, hey, you can reboot us all you like, but just know that we are blah, 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 trying to defend themselves and saying that we're the guys, us complaining, we're wrong, you're right, I'm sorry. But in that episode's just sort of like, hey, this is our fandom and this is our fan base. This is some of the kooky things you do.
Yeah.
Laugh about it.
But I think It's really hard to. I mean, people. There's always going to be people out there that are going to take stuff like fame and misfortune, and they've just made up their minds that they're going to be offended by this no matter what. You know, you can't reason with it. There's going to be those kinds of people out there. But me personally, I feel like the writers did a really good job of or right. Wasn't it the M.A. Larson one? I think it was.
Fame Misfortune? That was M.A. Larson.
Yeah, that was M.A. Larson. I think he did a really good job of walking that line where it's like it's a firm lesson that's quite obvious, the point that they're trying to make, and it's one that we needed to hear. But I don't feel like they were just like smacking us down with it. And honestly, I think just the fact that they are doing things like that the fact that the showrunners are taking hints and cues and stuff from the fandom and putting them in the show to enhance it and speaking to us through these episodes and stuff. I mean, again, this show was not meant for us. This is meant for young children to enjoy, but they have acknowledged and accepted the adult fandom that's come around it. And they've obviously geared some of the stuff towards us too, because they care about us just as much as they care about the little kids. And
I was about to say, like, that was Lauren's intention was never for it to be just like a kid's show. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, this was evident in episode 100. When that episode came out, it was pretty much confirmed. They listen, and now they're just continuing on with that. They listen very hard.
Yes.
Derpy. I understand.
All the views, yes. But and don't forget, episode 200 is coming.
I don't even want to
say, what would they say? What would they do for episode 200?
I don't know.
It's going to be epic, whatever it's going to be. But
I'm going to assume that they're going to bring up like Star Wars.
We're a long way from there, but no, I think it speaks to the maturity of the show and the fandom and everything that that we've kind of. It's almost a little bit of a symbiotic relationship that we've got going on here, because like we kind of feel we have a need of sorts for the show in our lives to share the magic of friendship with each other and stuff. And Hasbro, this show would have been done and over with and rebooted yet again, years ago, if not for us. So, not me specifically, I'm a little late to the party, but the fandom in general, it's created this awesome thing. So I think it speaks to the maturity of the fandom and show and everything, that there is this kind of communication going on. So
for the most part.
Yeah. So many other companies out there just don't give a rip about their fans. Honestly, like they only care that they're continually opening their wallets, and other than that, they're just going to shut them down and everything. Hasbro is way cooler.
The fact that they haven't demonetized our videos and they're just monetized. Well, not taking them down, but monetizing them and everything like that. So
thank you, Overlord Hasbro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they're looking for opinions about what people think about certain episodes, I mean, sometimes maybe we have something to say that's possibly interesting. Although I can't really fathom anybody that's actually writing for the show looking at my stuff, but still, I don't know.
The thought is funny in itself.
Yeah.
You guys think that there's? I admittedly haven't spent too much time really thinking about this particular question, but I just kind of wondered, do we think that was any sort of clear overarching storyline in season 7 in general? I mean, obviously family was a common theme, but
the only thing I saw that was consistent throughout season 7, that was like families, relationships, and like that was the main thing I saw that was consistent. But I haven't seen any kind of like overarching story like season 4.
The only overarching story was just the Pony of Shadows being mentioned in season 4, and then that name coming back here. That's about it.
Yeah, I feel like there was, but it was very subtle because it's sort of a more subtle version of the key episodes in season 4. Because basically, unknowingly, we had these episodes that revealed all these legends to us. First we had the first 3 in Campfire Tales, and then a couple episodes later in Daring Done, we got Somnambula, and then what was the last one? The last one was help me out here. I'm drawing a blank.
The one we're
looking at.
You say the Fluttershy one?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Oh, yes, the health of information.
Health of information.
Health of information.
Yeah, and it was like back-to-back guys. It's episode 16, episode 18, episode 20. You know, so it's like it's the last half of the season type of thing. But also we got all these legends, and then when we hit the finale, well, and Uncommon Bonds sort of played into that too, because then that touched on the Star Swirl piece, and then we go into the finale, and now all of a sudden we're bringing we find out that these legends are all still alive, just stuck in limbo. We're going to bring them back, and in order to bring them back, the main six have to, well, they've already got Star Swirl's journal, but they have to go back and collect the enchanted items from each of those legends. You know, have to go find them, retrieve them, and bring them back. And they essentially act in a very similar manner as the Keys did in season 4. So
Yeah.
they kind of gave us a little bit of, build up throughout the season. It just, it was much more subtle.
Yeah. And quickly returning to the finale, I do agree with many that finding the artifacts that belong to the pillars could have been episodes on their own. But I think for the sake of the finale, I am okay with what they did.
Yeah,
I don't think I would change anything with the way that they did that. Really, the only thing that I didn't really question it at first, but I've seen comments about this, and it does make me kind of raise an eyebrow a little bit, is the use of the cutie map in that episode. I mean, I understand it kind of needed to be there to move things the way that they needed to move, but it was a little confusing because, okay, so it called all the main six again. Not Spike or Star, but it's called Starlight before. It didn't call Starlight now, but Starlight needed to be there to help save Stygian. So why wasn't she called along with the main six? Yeah, I mean, it's just there's some of the mechanics of it that are a little bit puzzling with that.
Because she didn't really have a friendship lesson to learn. It was more that Star Swirl had the friendship lesson. I mean, if anything, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. If it's one thing we know about the map, when it calls you dare, you yourself learn something as well, right?
Wait,
don't they learn something as well?
Yeah, called the main six, and Twilight, like she even said at the end of the episode, like meeting my mentor, I thought I would learn everything, but it seemed like I just forgot everything. How lucky that I have my student to remind me what is important.
Exactly,
because it was Starlight who needed to learn, who needed to remember.
Yes. Exactly.
So it's not just the ponies that are required to solve the problem. It's those ponies also need to learn their lesson from solving that problem. So
while Starlight was like, I didn't learn anything. I was right all along. It's like
pretty much.
I wish we would have something like that. I wish we would have. Yeah, I wish we would have a moment like that again. That was like in season 2 or season 1.
Yeah,
I remember when I first heard that for a long ass time ago. That was lovely. I wish it would be something like that again. I learned anything.
The way the season finale, the way this finale should have ended. Star Swirl, dear Princess Celestia.
Yes.
No. Dear Princess Twilight.
Oh.
Ooh,
fire.
Burn.
Oh wow! I do appreciate that about Star Swirl. I feel like we got to see much more of the true Star Swirl at the end there, where once he ate the piece of humble pie, he settled down and realized, I was wrong. Got a lot of apologizing to do. Yeah. So
I like the wording he used, that pride clouded my judgment. Not like I lost sight of friendships. Like, no, I was being a dick, and that's what caused all this. So sorry about that.
And you have to wonder, like, why did Star Swirl ever stop learning the magic of friendship, as it were, to begin with? It's like
it was too hard, man.
What led down that path?
Way too hard.
I think I have
something tragic happened that may be the reason because of that.
Well, something did happen. They got stuck in limbo. I think it's a matter of they just okay. I know there's more Legends of Magic comics that I haven't bought and gotten to yet, but basically the ones that continue on, they're supposed to fill in some of the story about how all these individual legends got brought together into a group with Star Swirl leading them. And I think it became a matter of he was probably in the beginning stage. I mean, they're basically the precursors to the main six, and the elements of harmony.
Yeah.
So had they not gotten sealed away in limbo to stop the Pony of Shadows, they may have progressed forward themselves. And remember, they planted the seed, so it's possible. I mean, maybe they would have never been able to take advantage of it. Who knows how long it actually took to? Well,
it probably
I'm not going to get
fast.
into that. That's a very murky pool of whatever. But the point is, they could have become basically like the original, elements of harmony if they'd had long enough to come together as a group and learn about friendship as they journeyed together and solve problems and whatnot. They just didn't get the chance to. So, and I think that also explains or helps to explain why the elements of harmony, the actual elements of harmony in modern day, were able to be born from their magic, because they were the source of that. It just hadn't fully developed yet. So
yeah,
it had to at least take maybe 30 or 20 years.
Yeah, I love the parallels they drew between like the newer harmonies, and then like their like qualities of the old, like laughter coming from hope, honesty coming from strength, like something. I liked how they try to draw bridges between that.
Yeah.
Sorcery coming from magic just as much.
I love that line from Rockhoof in there. How do we use them?
Yeah. It's like, well, you
it just sort of works.
We don't know. We just use them.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
There was one thing I did want to talk about when it comes to the finale itself, and how brilliant it was when it comes to writing each character and how they're both right and wrong in a sense. And you can relate to both. You have Twilight, and you have Sunburst. They're trying to bring back this epic group of people, and then you have Starlight saying maybe it's a bad idea because they were doing this. In the end, you're right. Twilight's right. Bringing back these people would progress things so much. It's great. And Sunburst was right saying that magic and other sort of things have progressed from their time period. And that was shown when the Pony of Shadow was released. How many places of darkness could he go and regain his magic back? One. Instead of several, unlike before. So they were right when they say back in the past, this villain probably was devastating. But now it's a lot weaker, and we have a lot more resources to take it out, even though they didn't know it at that point. Yeah, and Starlight was right. Yeah, and Starlight was right, saying this and that, and then this and her entire arc in the episode of itself. So they really wrote the characters correctly enough to have them both say they're both in the right, and they both have some wrong traits to both of them. So no one was fully, man, you shouldn't have done this. Man, you should have said that. It was real. You could say it was real.
Did I mention it's really bright?
That too.
Yes.
Pinky on that Jumbotron screen is awesome. Sorry, it's a random thought there, but yeah,
sorry, I had to do it. Sorry.
Yeah, but that's all I had to say about that. I just loved how that was structured.
No, I loved the writing in that finale.
It was so solid. It really, really was. So I said it felt like it brought that finale brought a close to a chapter on so many different things. So we got a ton of new world building to add to things, but also they did well with wrapping up basically a lot of things in the season that led up to this. I mean, a lot of the season was spent on family and stuff like that, but that's something we've been desperately wanting, and I felt like, that's another thing. Just in general, everybody's been saying, the show is going to get stale and stagnant and whatever. They're running out of ideas. The character stories are done. It's like, okay,
that's cute. That's very cute. Very cute.
Yeah, exactly. But no, seriously, the families, bring out the family members of these characters. It adds new dimensions to them, and to the world in general, but to the characters especially. And we got to see so much of that. It was like with Twilight's family and Rainbow Dash's parents and whatever. It makes things make more sense in the past. I feel like this is a good sign of really good writing, where they can go back, fast forward some years later, all of a sudden insert characters that were never there before that are closely related to characters we already know and love. And then you go back and look at the way these characters used to act in earlier seasons, and you can see, oh, well, because their parents were this way and this is what their childhood was like, now the way that they were acting makes sense. Like, I feel like they're actually thinking about that. It's not being forced in. These parent, family introductions feel rather natural for the most part. So I think that does a really good job of adding dimension. And then for Starlight, we still don't have the family on Starlight, but just her personal growth and what she was able to do with the Royal Sisters was a huge step forward. Without Starlight, we could not have gotten a royal problem, because nobody in their right mind would have dared cross them like that.
No. The only person who would probably think about it would be Pinky, but she wouldn't be able to do anything.
Yeah, she couldn't.
She's
do
out
it,
there.
So.
But like, she
is the only one with the power and the guts to do it.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
I love Starlight. She's great.
Like DWK said it best in his totally legit series, but I'm going to tone down the language a bit. I may respect you, but I don't kiss your butts like everyone else does.
Okay.
It's like basically Starlight to the Royal Sisters. Like, Starlight was the only one in that episode who could have been able to think like this, like actually criticize the princesses and do such a drastic thing to try and fix the problem. Like, I don't think Twilight would have ever thought for a second to do stuff like that.
No, and not just because.
Yeah, it wouldn't even cross. Did you see her throughout the episode?
Yeah.
She was freaking out.
Yeah, and I would say it's not even just because of her hero worship of Celestia. I think just Twilight's personality in general would not have allowed for that, and this is one thing that this may be an instance of unpopular opinion, but a lot of people complain about Starlight just like here again in a royal problem, she just without thinking just took a drastic magic related action which could have backfired very, very badly, but it didn't. It was like the first time it didn't, I think, and it actually turned out for the better for everyone. And I think it may have been a poorly thought out rash action, but sometimes that kind of response is actually needed. So sometimes Starlight clearly has been working towards regaining her confidence and becoming a strong leader. I mean, she did well running that village. I mean, as much as a tyrant as she was, she has leadership qualities. We've seen that time and again in this show. It's very clear in the season 6 finale. It's becoming very clear, again, as time goes on. And I think sometimes, with leaders, you don't always have the luxury of sitting and analyzing and overthinking and whatever. Sometimes you're in a clutch situation. You just have to make a decision and stick to it and hope for the best. Starlight has that capability. I feel like Twilight is actually coming up a bit short on that. Twilight is so easily gets bogged down in her overanalyzation and overthinking of the situation and worries herself sick and whatever. I mean, it's not to say that's every time, but she does have a significant tendency to do that. So I feel like that's actually a strength of Starlight's.
Yeah. Again, I think have you guys seen the bronies react to Royal Problem?
No, I don't really.
Okay, in that video, at some point, Black Griffin is no, there's a reason why the map called Starlight, because you, Twilight, are too passive aggressive. At least Starlight is more direct.
Yeah.
And I think that pretty much sums it up. Like, Twilight, she tends to go over things a bit too much, and like you said, Giga, overanalyze it. So I'll start just let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should blow up her stuff.
If I can take over for a quick moment, can I highlight a personal episode for me?
Yeah, sure.
In this season.
Yeah, go for it.
I want to. Many may not may think that this is kind of a weird choice, but an episode that I personally want to highlight for this season was a flurry of emotions, the Flurry Heart episode. The reason why I want to personally highlight it is because a year and a half ago, something like that, I became an uncle, and And just
Congrats.
seeing this episode, it reminded me like just how it felt to suddenly have this new branch of family and how they can act around you, especially with your own parents. And it's just it made me, it touched me, and it related to me on a very emotional and personal level, because like I saw Flurry Heart, how she acted, how other people acted around her, and how she reacted to different things, like, and all I could think was like, wow, my nephew is a lot like that, just in normal baby shape. It's just like I could really like relate to that episode, and like that's why it became one of my personal favorites of this season. It's just because that how much it surprisingly like connected to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I just wanted to highlight the episode because I don't see many talking about it.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people just thought that episode was very meh, or one of the weakest episodes of the season, or whatever.
It was adorable.
I really liked it. Yeah, it was adorable. Really, my only complaint about it is the fact that there were so many better options on that one. I mean, there's so many different things that Twilight could have done to not pull herself too many different directions, and she just failed to delegate, which I mean kind of was the whole point of that, but still, it's just like it would have made sense if they just had something like she tried to ask one of her other friends for help, or like all of her other friends were busy with other things and stuff like that. Like she tried to delegate and wasn't able to do it, and it's like, okay, I just have to take this on myself. That would have been a little bit more realistic. I just didn't like that she did that. But basically, I felt like the problem was a little bit on the manufactured side. But other than that, I really liked the lesson that came out of it, like how she was ignoring Flurry Heart and realized that it was wrong of her to do that and stuff like that. It was great.
Yeah, usually I didn't really like episodes that had her in it, but that one was definitely one that I liked her character in that episode. It was quite interesting. Yeah.
And I have to say, I've said it before, but just to say again, one of the things on my wish list for season 7 was I wanted character development for Flurry Heart. It's like, okay, we got this cute little baby, it's adorable and it does crazy wacky things. It's fun. But they basically didn't do anything of significance with her in season 6. I'm like, please do something with this child, make her relevant somehow, And it's like somebody commented on my video, it's like, what, she's a baby. What do you expect? How do you expect to get character development out of a baby? I'm like, oh, there are ways.
Lots of ways. Yeah,
episode 3, I'm like,
a bunch of ways.
Thank you. That is exactly what I wanted. Like exactly what I wanted.
Yeah. Her little bubble shield where she closed her wings around. So it's like,
oh god, yeah,
yes.
That was amazing.
Yes,
it's like it's my bubble.
And she had big wings covering herself. That was awesome.
Those wings, just
I know. We need an explanation someday. Maybe we'll get one. Who knows?
Yeah.
Power.
I'm just
overwhelming power results in bigger appendages. I mean wings. I mean nope.
Yeah.
Okay, we lost Johnny.
Continue.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, I do have to say, I mean, this really isn't anything spoilery because I can't confirm one way or the other. It was very interesting that when I was at Ponyville Cider Fest this year, the last convention I was at, Tabitha St. Germain was one of the guests, and of course she does one of her famous, like fanfic type things that the VAs do like a script reading on, and of course she had the character of Flurry Heart in there, and Tabitha doing the Flurry Heart voice. It wasn't just babbling baby sounds. There was some actual words in there, so it just makes me wonder: is that something to come in season 8? Are we going to hear some first words from Flurry Heart?
Well, it doesn't take that long for babies to learn at least a few words growing up. I was surprised how
in her
fast.
case,
Some of my nieces, and she's like an alicorn, so she's already special enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I would actually love to see, like, if they did like a next generation My Little Pony sort of thing. I would love it if Flurry Heart became the resident princess. Or if she like the prince, the royal front picture like Twilight is now. I would love to see that.
That is an interesting take. When I first had Flurry Heart show up, one of the first things I said in one of my reactions was, I want to see a grown-up version of her, and then you can just imagine the amount of comments I got saying, you know, they're not gonna have her grow up and stuff like that. I was like, all right, now that Star Swirl's here and he is a master of time travel, I would love an episode where he just goes in time and it's just like, hey, Flurry Heart, what's
and
up?
the CMC are actually like older and that type of thing.
Oh yes, we all want to see that. I see that being something that might happen in like the series finale, like if they fast
the
forward
epilogue
or something.
Yeah.
But
imagine an episode where we like jump through time and see the CMC grown. I was like, that I can't imagine how that would like result from the fandoms. Just seeing these small pushes suddenly growing. I was like, oh god, they're adults.
Well, they need to iron out a few issues first with Scootaloo, and after we iron out those issues, then
I would have to say, I mean, if it depends on what they plan on doing with, you know, I mean, someday FIM is going to end. And obviously, they're not going to just end My Little Pony. There will be another My Little Pony series of some sort. Whether it's, I think the question basically comes down to: is it going to be another like from scratch reboot, or are they going to do like, you know, fast forward, you know, X number of years from FIM, and same universe, same general world, but new cast of characters, new situations, and then there would be like cameos of former characters that would show up and do things and whatever. Personally, that's like my ideal thing there. It's like the fast forward, but same world. I mean, that's basically, you know, Avatar: The Last Airbender to Legend of Korra, that type of thing. So
you could do oodles with that idea,
so something like that. So if there's a possibility of, you know, ending FIM and starting up like a future continuation in the same world, I would rather they save the flash forward thing until then. I wouldn't want to like be sort of spoiled on that within FIM itself. So
it's not gonna be the same. Therefore, it's gonna suck. Just imagine it's those kind of things that people would say, like, it's not the same as the old show.
We don't like change.
Definitely. And then they watch the first few episodes, realize, oh wait, okay, this is just good. All right.
It's like all the people who still hate Starlight, even though, like, I remember Abigail, didn't you your friend like link me that post that had like people, it was like a poll about which was like the best character this season. A lot of people were like Starlight #1, and people, I don't know why people still don't like her character. It just blows my mind.
Because I think the biggest meme for her was like she was just this all-powerful being that could do everything, like Starlight versus the main 6. I think that's the name of the thing. It's just her.
I've seen people like try to claim that she's a Mary Sue. I'm like, and what do you know what a Mary Sue is? Starlight is not like a Mary Sue.
It's like people have just thrown that term around. Like, okay, everyone here watching, like all the people watching, Mary Sue is a type of character who has no flaws at all. Who is perfect in every seemingly way. They have no like trouble with anything. Everything is perfect. I was like, that is a Mary Sue, not a person
who can do
just
everything. Good at a lot of stuff does not make you a Mary Sue. It just makes you a well-diverse individual.
Starlight was manipulating children to get her own way and brainwashing an entire town. I don't think she's really.
That's a clear Mary Sue. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. I got you.
Well, really, I feel like the closest we have come in FIM to a Mary Sue character, and don't shoot me for this, is Gabby. And like I said, the closest to, because she is not a Mary Sue. I can definitely see where people are getting that, because I mean, basically every single thing that the CMCs threw at her, she was doing with great success. Basically, I mean, where the CMCs, they tried a gazillion things and pretty much failed miserably at every one of them. Where she was like succeeding at every one of them, but still not able to get a cutie mark, obviously. But that doesn't mean that she was without fault, because you can argue that her fault. Well, basically she cared so much about like people say Applejack is honest to a fault. Gabby was cared to a fault. Like she cared so much about the not wanting to hurt the CMC's feelings and stuff, that she realized that she'd gotten in too deep in this and didn't want to let them down, that all of a sudden it wasn't about her anymore. It's like it's more about them, and she proceeded to lie to them to try and fix the situation, which was not the right thing to do. I mean, that right there is a fault.
Yeah.
So,
well, if you're looking for like the anti-Mary Sue, I mean, obviously Diamond Chara's mother would probably qualify.
You really don't like that woman.
I really don't. I mean, dude.
I would still say Sven Gallup's got that crown. So yeah.
Both of them. They should just
I want rah. I want rah.
I do have to say, we really, really need a Diamond Tiara episode in season 8.
You already know what I wanted to do with that part. Yeah.
Nothing.
No, it's going to come up when they do the Scootaloo episode. Knock on wood. If they do a Scootaloo episode, that'd be the perfect time to reintroduce that whole idea, because
I'm going to respectfully disagree with you on that, because if that happened, now you've got split focus. Is it Diamond Tiara's story or is it Scootaloo's story? I feel like that's going to be too much of a split.
Don't you want like a full episode where she's just trying to learn how to fly, and then in the end she does it or something? It's just, you don't want anything else to be like a subplot.
Like we've talked about before, my ideal Scootaloo episode is an interaction between her and Derpy, because that will destroy me and probably 80% of the fandom, at least.
Yes. That is too perfect.
I was already destroyed in parental guidance by when Scootaloo just suddenly dropped that ball. I was like, oh God, my heart.
Yeah.
Oh, the artwork that came out of it.
Can we talk about that episode for a small bit?
Yeah.
Can we talk about those parents?
Sure, yeah.
They were awesome. Adopt Scootaloo, please, any day now.
If you want to talk about a Mary Sue, how about them parents?
They were the Mary Sue in the right way.
Actually, yeah, they were pretty much the Mary Sues in all of this.
No. If you're talking about, they weren't the Mary Sue because they were too infatuated with Rainbow Dash's.
That is a fault,
right? Therefore, that would be a fault.
Yep.
So.
There you go. See,
why can't we just throw out the term Mary Sue, because it doesn't really exist? Because you can find, if you nitpick into a certain character, you're going to find a fault. So can we just throw that away?
Yeah,
sure. But
when it comes to parental guidance, I still I'm sorry if I jump around a bit too much, but I still have a small issue with how they handled the ending moral.
Yeah,
it's just I know what they were going for. Rainbow Dash appreciating her parents more, they constantly praise her so much. Okay, maybe I should just not be try not to be so agitated by it all the time. But I just wish they could have handled it a bit differently, because they made it seem like that she had been wrong the entire time, and that the parents were entirely in the right to go crazy over the smallest things.
It was basically.
I think I remember complaining about that.
it could have just been one or two quick lines of dialogue, just something to at least acknowledge the fact that the parents were at least partly at fault in the situation. That's all it was missing.
If the parents at some point at the ending said well, we were kind of a bit overbearing about it. We was just so happy for you. We was just so excited you were going so far. If there was just a short conversation like that, it would have redeemed all my issues. But it's not, and therefore I feel like it's a bit.
I never heard
feedback for Rainbow Dash.
I never heard the term derail be used as correctly as probably that episode. It's just the episode starts off with Scootaloo and the parents, and then throughout the entire episode, you see how the parents are being like this and that, and then suddenly, boom, it's a Rainbow Dash episode. She needs to learn the lesson. What?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a misdirect there. Yeah,
it was more like the parents who needed to learn something.
And you're right. They were both in the wrong, but one needed to at least show how much they were in the wrong as well. All that excitement stuff. Did you see that room?
That's really my only issue.
That room.
Oh, the door, the sound effects in the door.
Dude.
Oh, it's spot on.
And I thought
all I know is like if there are any issues with that episode, I mean the last frame of that episode pretty much like makes it all worth it.
Oh,
Scootaloo being held up in the air.
That just look of like pure bliss on her face, practically crying. Oh man.
Yeah.
Just like there is no question. It's not like a sister. It's just flat out. She is part of the family. Like just make it official, sign the papers, whatever's necessary. It's done. It's no question.
Yeah, I remember my old reactions where I actually thought they were just sisters, and it just wasn't like said. And it had people telling me they're not sisters, not sisters. And then as the series progresses, like you might as well just call them sisters. Just
Exactly.
So it's just amazing. Like, do you guys remember where this entire in the show canon where this entire sisterhood thing between Rainbow Dash and Scootaloo started? It started in season 3 with Sleepers in Ponyville. Just remember how it started there and where we are now.
And then Campfire Tales.
Yeah,
the way those two interacted in Campfire Tales.
I love Campfire Tales.
Priceless.
Yes.
Oh my! Like even at the end where she was basically like, you know, holding up Scootaloo, so like she didn't even have to get wet in the water and stuff, and just man,
just the development from Sleepers in Ponyville to now is just like, this is good.
Yes,
keep going, please. Any day now.
It's perfect, you know, full circle coming from Sleepless in Ponyville to Campfire Tales. You know, like more than once, I kept wondering, like, when are they gonna truly go back to that? Because I don't think you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think there's been any like real significant interaction, at least on screen, between those two episodes. I mean, there's been hints at things, like obviously, you know, like in Brotherhood Social, they were doing the social thing together, and you know, other stuff, but like that's probably like the most time that they've really spent together closely like that. Like I said, it's kind of a full circle thing. That's where it started, is on that camping trip, and now we got another version of that camping trip, and we can see how far it has actually come and developed based on all those, you know, hints that we've gotten along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like the show writers care.
They started to this season.
Oh yeah.
I swear somebody must have printed up some sort of a cheat sheet of like, okay, you know, you need to write an episode about this, and here's like all the past episodes that you need to go watch and all the little data points to poke at this and that and whatever. I mean, there had to be something like that going on.
Applegeek, I would maybe say they made a bullet point about it.
What's a bullet point? Inside joke, yeah.
Well, I know what a check mark is.
Yeah. I did a lot of this season.
You better make sure to use it next season, or I'll be very disappointed.
Oh, this will get used. If I have enough presence of mind to actually pick it up and use it, I should have had this up like at least 2 times, I think, in the finale episode, and my mind was just gone.
If for some reason you make a prediction about Scootaloo and that whole thing that I want, and you don't hold up your check mark during that episode, I will come and find you.
That will be the first time I pause a reaction and just go nuts.
All right.
I have yet to pause a reaction. I have not done that yet. But I feel there will come a day when that happens.
All right, guys, I want to ask maybe a weird question. Since we're talking about this, sort of talking about the season as a whole, we've talked about a lot of things we love, but so I feel like we have to ask ourselves this: what episodes did not quite make the cut?
That's hard to say. Most of them.
There were only 2. I mean, in my opinion, like the one.
Was that a subtle hint there? That's hard to say, as in hard to say.
You know what? I wasn't even thinking about that.
I thought I was good, but nope. Leave it up to Applegeek to already see through my.
I was going to say that was too obvious.
That was perfect. But no, like like Nate-chan, her first writing thing was for the Yak episode. But then she made up for it in another episode further down this season. I can't remember which one it was. What was it? Oh yeah. She made up for everything that I thought she was, had issues with in the Yak episode. But that was only because of like maybe 1 or 2 lines of dialogue didn't kind of really fit the characters. But other than that, it was It was an okay episode, but not amazing. Hard to say anything.
No.
Where do I even begin?
I liked it. I mean, that song will live on in infamy. It's gloriously horrible.
There are a lot of things I could say about that episode that I don't think I should repeat in this on this thing, because especially at the end, I could say a lot of things about that whole interaction with the CMC, but I think I will abstain from that.
Yeah, that episode
was
was
good
kind
for
of
references,
fast.
Beauty and the Beast and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bieber, yeah. And Vince Vaughn flat out said, it's just basically he was channeling Justin Bieber and trying to be as much of a, jerk as he could.
Oh, Vincent.
Just hi girls.
Yeah. I was like, did you think of anything you were going to do following that? Like if you actually get, we don't need to go down all that stuff. But I did, Capra and I were just having a conversation the other day, and I said I had a random brain strike. I'm not going to call it brainstorm because it's just one strike. So I have those occasionally. A thought occurred to me, like, okay, so now we've got Big Mac, an Earth Pony, and we have Sugar Belle, a unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
And we know something's going on because in addition to Hard to Say Anything, back in which episode was that again? It wasn't The Perfect Pair. It was later on. That was in
What happened in it?
It Isn't the Main Thing About You. We got that brief, like 1 or 2 second, thing where they were Big Mac and Sugar Belle were walking down the road away from the farm together.
Mm-hmm.
So we had visual confirmation, like that wasn't just a 1 episode thing. Like there's still something going on here. Okay, now I'm just thinking, fast forward to the future. Okay, let's just assume things go well, get married, start a family, blah blah blah. If they have a kid, a foal, we've already seen what can happen between the cake babies and Flurry Heart. We know that cross,
it becomes a
the
Pegasus.
genetics get a little mixed up. So it's entirely possible that a foal from that couple would be a unicorn. Would that unicorn be the first unicorn ever in the Apple family?
Mm.
Oh.
Mm.
Food for thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I, for one, would pay money to see Granny Smith try to babysit an out-of-control unicorn baby.
Or like if they wait a while to
actually.
Or if they wait enough time to have the kid, and then it's like the CMC taking care of the kid, or maybe
that would be even better. Even better. We were just talking about the Go ahead.
I was going to say Baby Cakes 2.0. Except this time,
but our thought process was going weird places, and we just started thinking like Granny trying to whip that little full unicorn into shape. Like we're just imagining that she's gonna like summon some Earth Pony magic, like the first time we see legit Earth Pony magic, and is gonna like, I don't know if you could call it like going Super Saiyan, but like revert to like a younger version of herself, like power up, like okay, I'm gonna deal with this, and then. I don't know. It's just wacky, crazy things, but that'll never actually happen in the show. But
you never confirmed. Granny Smith is immortal. Tapped into her pony magic to keep herself in this insane state.
Silver Quill already said she's a Highlander.
Don't forget there was that one episode where I can't remember which one it was, but there's an episode where like she pulled back her face and it like briefly looked like young Granny Smith again, and then all the wrinkles drooped back down.
I think that was like the Apple Family reunion.
I think you're right. I'd have to confirm, but yeah, I think that was it. So yeah, it just whatever the case is, crazy stuff.
Not to mention the episode where she does a whole bunch of things an old pony like her should not be able to do because of a placebo effect.
Yeah.
The effects of Granny Smith's age has probably been one of the most inconsistent things in the show.
Sometimes she's like, "Oh, my back," and then all of a sudden she's doing like figure eights and.
I haven't seen anybody do this yet. So if somebody wants to, if somebody knows if this is out there, please link it to me. Otherwise, if I don't see this after a while, I might just go do this myself. Like, I think we have seen more various age levels of Granny Smith than any other pony in the show throughout all the different flashbacks and time periods. So like, I think there's like 8, 9, maybe 10 different, age representations of Granny Smith. Like, I want to see them all like side by side.
That is so cool. It's like Granny Smith in all those stages of life, from a foal to a young mare to a grown up to old and crusty. It's just it's cool.
Yeah, it's not even really.
It's like Granny Smith is like the one thing that ties all these times together, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. And plus, she was very influential on making Ponyville and a lot of other places.
Yeah, her family were the original settlers of Ponyville, so she's been there from the beginning.
He is by far just the most important character.
Yeah, well, why do you think she was able to lay the smackdown on Filthy Rich back in Where the Apple Lies? It's like you don't mess with Granny.
No.
Has that tongue wrapped around her little hoof. I mean that's if she cuts ties with you, you may as well just pack up and leave town, because ain't nobody gonna do business with you.
And I feel like the Apple family is what it's like. It's like that family in town that everyone loves, and if they don't like someone for every reason, like, they must be bad. That person.
Oh yeah. It's like that old saying: if X nicest person in the universe hates you, you did something wrong. You did something wrong.
But again, after the perfect pair, maybe that has changed a little bit with them, not trusting others, or if that were ever an issue.
Yeah.
I just have to call up again season of callbacks, continuity. And there again, in It Isn't the Main Thing About You, we saw was it Apple Bloom or Big Mac? Is one
it was Apple Bloom, I think.
Apple Bloom talking to Burnt Oak.
It's Burnt Oak. Yeah, that was so. Yes.
It's like further confirmation that it's like they didn't just say, it's like, hey, can we come back and ask you more questions later? And then we saw that they're actually doing it. Like, that is legitimate continuity right there.
And a few frames later in that same scene, you could see Granny Smith and Grandpa talking in the booth.
No, they weren't talking. They were jointly operating an Apple Pear booth.
And I missed that in my reaction.
Firmly buried the hatchet. I mean, yeah.
And I know many said it during their perfect pair reaction. I think some of you guys said as well, but like two businesses like that openly arguing in the middle of a marketplace isn't good for business.
No.
Yeah.
I get the feeling it had been going on for so long. The town's ponies, they're just like, it's just the apples there. Just ignore them. They're always doing that. Move on. Nothing.
But I don't know. I don't know what type of produce I should buy, and then they're going to argue again about what.
Again, I love Grandpa's lines like, pears are like nature's candy. Apples are sour. Like the expression on your face right now. It's like,
that line.
I know.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
The execution of that line was perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. But
we have already talked in depth about perfect pair.
I would like to talk just a little bit, since we're highlighting some specific episodes. I want to talk a little bit just about what I feel like is really the hidden gem of this season that really didn't get any decent amount of respect because of the situation that we had with the way the episodes were airing early and back to back and whatever. The perfect pair entirely overshadowed Discordant Harmony, which is arguably like one of the absolute best Discord episodes in the entire show.
Yes, that's so much development just for his character as a whole. And I love me some Fluttershy with Discord interactment. That's like pure friendship as a whole. It started off with, I'm supposed to be your leash, basically. I'm supposed to be the person to keep you in check. Then it turned into just a full-blown friendship. They know how to be alone with each other. That's what I was really want to know. Just like they are always interacting with other people around. But like, what are they like just by themselves? And they're so in sync with each other. I love it.
Oh yeah. Well, have we, before that, have we actually had, I don't think we've actually had a point in the show where we got to see like Discord and Fluttershy interacting with each other without something else going on. I mean,
briefly in Keep Friend in Friends but Keep Discord. The smooch episode.
Oh, okay.
It was like very briefly
yes.
in the beginning. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I love our tea parties together. It's like that was very brief.
Oh, okay. I was thinking about in
Making friends with Keith Tiswood. That was the name. Sorry.
Yeah, but no, season 6. Oh wow, my brain. Hold on, I'm just gonna scroll up because my brain's too tired to remember.
What is it? I just want to quickly say about Discord.
Dungeons and Discords. Dungeons and Discord. At the beginning of Dungeons and Discords, you know, Discord trying to, you know, can I go along with you, or can't you stay behind, or whatever, you know, kind of clingy, you know, and that was like one of the best moments there because he like snapped to like the inverted, you know, universe, and Fluttershy just snapped like, listen up, sassafras. And Discord is like, okay, enough of that. Switching back.
Yeah.
I want to quickly ask, because non-American, non-English, what is a sassafras?
Sassafras, isn't that like a type of herb or something? I think
I
that's
have no idea.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah.
All right. I just want to quickly say about Discord and Harmony. It's like Hasbro looking for him like, y'all like Fluttercord? Fam, I got you.
Yeah, the shipping. Yeah, it was definitely.
That's yeah, it is a.
It's 3-step 1 piece of some sort of.
Right.
It's a plant of some sort. I don't know.
I learned something today.
Yeah,
it's a spice tree.
It looks like it's complicated, and I'm not going to review the whole Wikipedia right now. But anyway, but no,
it's just a plant. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so you know, we've had little bits of interaction between the two, but we had never really seen like a full blown, you know, Discord and Fluttershy like having a day together, and you know, he finally got the chance to really like go all out and show like just how much he actually cared about, you know, her friendship with him. Mm-hmm. You know, the point like he's like completely uprooting his entire life and rewriting everything about himself to try and please her. You know,
and it just turns out. And then it turns out Fluttershy is just like Celestia, just like, I like our boring stuff, but when I'm with you, the exciting stuff happens, and that's the stuff I want to see.
Yeah,
and the diabetes that happened during that whole tea party with like what? Oh,
wagging
like,
the tongue and chomping the sandwiches, and oh, does the tea signal? What's it do? What's it do?
That line right there. That right there. Yeah.
One of I think that right there, that line from her is pretty much right up there with that scene from the movie, where it's like, "Do you want to talk about it?" I mean,
exactly.
Those two lines.
Exactly.
Right up there.
Yep.
Oh my goodness! But it's also like highlighted a thing about Discord. Like, if he isn't Discord, then he basically begins to cease to exist.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like he was created. Did he create himself, and then suddenly, if he stops being what he is, he just stops existing? Or was he from some other force? It was like, this is what you need to do. Do it. You're like a god of destruction. If you do not destroy, you will no longer be who you are. And it's like, that's interesting. Origins of Discord, please.
Chaos. If there's no chaos, why does he need to exist?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why it's like the saying goes, without evil, there would be no good, so it's good to be evil sometimes, right?
Yin and yang sort of thing.
Yeah. You have to have a balance.
Thinking about it from, like, you know, real life application of that lesson, you know, I think you could argue that the point was trying to be made is if you basically just try to completely change yourself to appeal to somebody else, you cease to be who you really are, and you lose yourself in the process. And you know that can lead some people to very dark places. You know, so
or it could lead people to simple ways.
Yeah,
I love that episode.
That was an episode. That's actually a good segue. Just remembered another thing I wanted to highlight this season. I gotta hand it to Rarity. She was rocking this season.
Yes, she was. So
I mean,
good.
Rarity has been steadily climbing up the ladder of respect for me. I mean, I dare say I can't rate like 1 to 6 anymore. The main 6 I really can't. But I almost dare say Rarity is not at the bottom of my list anymore. I mean, she's done so many awesome things that just
Yeah, rating the main 6 is too hard. You can't really do it because they all have.
Rainbow Dash still my bottom 6. Please don't kill me. Comment section.
but no, I
can see that.
I can see it too. It's been a while since we got like a good bit of episodes that really showcased.
Well, I know that 21 Pranks Later really did, scar.
Yeah.
Personally, but
we don't talk about that episode.
Yeah,
we already got a fair amount of screen time. I mean, Forever Philly. I thought that was a bit over the top, but I mean, what's Rarity
so
over the top?
Sisterlyhood.
It's
so good.
Good solid lesson
I
for
love my
Rarity. Dealing with, and I mean that's something. Johnny, you talked earlier about relating to a flurry of emotions because of the whole uncle thing and whatever. I mean, I've seen firsthand and heard stories about from plenty of others about how quickly children and siblings can grow up, and before you realize that like they're adults, and it's like, where did my little sister or my little kid go? It can happen so quickly. So that was such a real thing for that to happen. And then we got, let's see, Honest Apple. I mean, Rarity, wow, she handled that so well. I felt like
that guitar solo though.
Oh yes, the guitar solo was epic.
Yeah,
it's epic Rarity moments in the season. Let's see what else.
The hair thing.
Fame and Misfortune for Rarity. That
I'm making it down.
Face. That freak out. That was like one of my best freak outs ever. Have you guys seen my reaction to that?
Yeah.
You had that caught me completely by surprise. That was awesome.
I love freak out Rarity. I just love it.
Freak out any character has never not been a joy to see.
Yeah. I mean, she was really. Campfire Tales was epic for Rarity because there again.
Yes.
From Sleepless in Ponyville to Campfire Tales, look how far Rarity has come. I mean,
she's packing a little less. Half a dozen bags.
Packed a dozen bags.
Yeah, significantly less luggage. Doesn't is dressed more appropriately. Doesn't care so much about getting a little bit dirty. I mean, she's come a long ways in that regard. Much more level-headed.
Still makes the Sweetie Belle carry most of her package.
Yeah. And it isn't the main thing about you. That was again another epic freak out for me when I saw the.
Yes, I was just in love from the moment I saw that. Man, it's like,
the rocker Rarity. As soon as I saw, I'm sitting there, like I can see that, like the camera's panned down. It's like I can see kind of like the outfit she's got on, and my brain is like, no, they didn't. They didn't. Did they actually go there? And the pans up. I'm like, yes, they went there. I'm like, oh man, that.
And I'm just thinking that punk look, along with the guitar solo she did in Honest Apple. Did Rarity have a past before going into fashion?
Did she have a double life, like as a rocker, like somewhere?
One begins to wonder. One begins to wonder.
I want to call something. I want to call that in season 8 we will meet we will get more in depth about Rarity's family and like her parents and stuff like in general, and we find out that she had like this punk youth, and parents would try like, okay, maybe we should try and aim her towards something else, and that's how she got into James and fashion. Good to call it.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Well,
either her parents.
The Sonic Rainbow where she saw the gems and stuff is like.
Yeah,
I could still see her having a phase during that time.
Well, we've seen plenty of ponies that are multi-talented, and they have hobbies and stuff,
Okay, that is true. Yes,
I will point out too. She's a member of the Pony Tones, so there's
punk Rarity. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so she has music. She has some musical talent in that regard, and going off canon into pure fan fiction territory. Like I feel like secretly the Pie Sisters like have like a rock band, and I'm just imagining Rarity joining that now and just doing some crazy stuff out of the rock farm.
Yes.
Mod something, make it happen, somebody.
Mod in a rock band. I see.
Yes, very funny.
Exactly. So
I think their favorite song would be I wanna rock. I want to rock.
Yeah.
Oh no, our main competitors, the metal band.
I want to hear Mod Pie sing "We Will Rock You."
It would be great.
The most deadpan "We Will Rock You" ever.
I'm just imagining like her on the drums or like some sort of instrument with the deadpan like stare at like the audience, like her hopes are like moving a mile a minute. I'm just imagining that whole thing going down. That'd be awesome.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first.
Add to that, shy little Marble Max steps up to the mic, lead singer. It's like death metal lead singer.
I was about to say.
That would definitely be a pause moment. Definitely.
Yes. I mean, I've heard people theorize that about Fluttershy, that she's like this death metal rock star in a secret life or something. That could be, it would be even better with Marble Pie.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Crazy possibility. Yeah. Somebody get on that for fanfic, please.
Why am I suddenly imagining Limestone Pie on like a soft harp or something like that?
What Limestone? I feel like that's a bit too extreme, though. I'm not sure what she would do, but
like, just with the contrasts we're now making, it's like, what soft thing would Limestone do since she's acting so tough? It's like a triangle ding
violin.
Triangle. No, that's Applejack's instrument. Applejack plays
Applejack is the fiddle. Applejack is on the fiddle.
That would be the fiddle. Yeah. That would be a fiddle. Yeah. Difference between a fiddle and a violin.
Okay, fiddle. Yeah, she's played many instruments throughout the show. So.
Oh yeah.
I could see her having a softer version, that being a violin, the counteracting of just like, since they're kind of related.
It would be fun.
Ooh. Like a fiddle in relationship to her apple farm, a violin a connection to her life in Manhattan. Because it's a bit finer and higher class.
Yeah.
Yes.
It would be fun. Okay, let me just think about this. We've seen musical talent out of Applejack, Pinkie Pie, clearly one-man band.
Rarity. Not so much Twilight and Rainbow Dash. Not much of them.
Fluttershy, not so much. But it's kind of too bad on that, because I'm just Fluttershy can sing like nobody's business, clearly.
And Twilight has always been depicted to be the singer, if you count the movies as canon, which they are. She's just a singer.
Yeah, a very bad.
We got a message for you. We're not all alike. Our message is true.
Oh God.
I think my eardrums just blew out.
Yeah, I ripped out my earbuds just in time. But it's like Granny's. Where's Granny Smith with the Apple Core earplugs when we need it?
There you go.
But no, it's kind of too bad that there hasn't been a little. I mean, obviously, all of them have had very good singing roles for their various songs and stuff. But it just, if there had been more stuff instrument wise, like where my mind was going with that is like it would have been really fun to have a musical episode where it's almost like a self-aware musical. Like it's not like just these songs that magically everybody starts singing. It's actually like there's they're in situations where there's music being played and songs going on and things like that. Like it's sort of a self-aware musical episode that could be really fun. But I'm not sure where Rainbow and Twilight would like fit into that. So.
Spontaneous music, just a band. Maybe it's like an episode where there's a traveling band going through town, and they keep going out to ponies and play music. It's like, do you guys watch Phineas and Ferb?
Yes.
Do you remember the rock bands that they get together for their mom and dad? And then there was an episode where they like follow a delivery man around playing music and like singing his actions.
Yeah. Yes.
Imagine something like that with just a traveling band coming to Ponyville.
Oh boy. Well, for that matter, I would love to see a congregation of all the musical ponies. Like I said, we still haven't legitimately heard like a Sapphire Shores song, unless you count that one out of the special.
That is true.
So we haven't seen Sapphire Shores pony version actually perform or do a song or whatever. So it's Coloratura. I'd like to see her come back, do Sapphire Shores, do something. Obviously Octavia, Vinyl, or DJ Pone 3, whichever name you prefer. I don't care. Lyra. I mean, we have yet to see her actually play the harp. Presumably she can. It's her cutie mark. But just have like a self-aware musical type episode, like some big Battle of the Bands episode or something. Well, no, we did that already. Never mind.
Yeah, and a really good movie.
Yes.
But Abigail, something you just said there made me think. Lyra, we haven't seen her play the harp ever, but it is her cutie mark. Yep. So maybe it's because her life isn't dictated by her cutie mark. It doesn't force her to play the harp all the time. It just made me think about like what Starlight said. I don't give a Starlight, but someone, or maybe it's just I've just heard it being said about it in the fandom. Was like ponies' lives being dictated by their cutie marks. Like what is on your butt, that's your life.
I forget the name of the episode. It was the episode where the kid and the
marks of recreation
camp, a camp, and you got the kid saying, "Oh, get a cutie mark. That's all you're gonna do."
Like, marks of recreation. That was fun. That was
Yeah, there was a lot of examples of how that's not true, but sure, let's just go with it.
I chuck that up to their kids. Honestly, you would believe anything at that age.
So where do you guys, just kind of circling back around to topic season, looking ahead, where do we think some of the stuff is going to go? Like, really the big question mark hanging out here right now is the changelings. That story thread clearly has not wrapped up yet. We've got significant development, and we have seen the changeling nation. We've seen the challenges that they have faced and how to live their lives, like how to live peacefully but still be prepared for threats that will inevitably face them and stuff like that. So we've got some good world building with that, but then of course we had no direct callbacks to where things got left hanging with Chrysalis at the end of season 6. So obviously that stuff is going to come into play again at some point in the future, presumably next season.
Yeah, but we still need to see Chrysalis's vengeance upon Starlight.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that arc still needs to be finished, and who knows what will happen when that happens because of this whole tinfoil hat idea that we had behind,
Chrysalis needs to follow up on that badass threat she left Starlight.
Yeah, definitely.
That was an awesome quote, by the way. Like, there is no revenge you can conceive of that would even be close to what I will have in store for you one day. It's just,
and you went back in time.
Yeah.
I still wonder if that evil entity, that Pony of Shadows entity, is going to somehow come back into play here, because I mean she's basically if the episode is the content of the season is to be believed, which we have no reason not to. The Thorax claimed that all the remaining changelings that hadn't converted at the time, they did at the Hive at the end of season 6, they had successfully converted all the rest of them except Pharynx, who now converted as well. So presumably that unless there are other ones that have somehow slipped through the cracks, that means that Chrysalis doesn't even have a few remaining minions. She's completely alone and on her own. And that means she's at her most dangerous because she's got nothing to lose at this point. So, but what's she going to do?
I was about to say maybe they can do the whole thing with the Daybreaker again. I had that theory about this season 7 finale, so maybe they could do that. I don't know.
I do kind of hope they'll do something more with Daybreaker. I feel like that was too easy. I think there needs to be more to that.
But I feel like it's like. In the royal problem, it just seemed like that Daybreaker was only a result of Starlight's imagination, since it was in her dreams. So it's not even 100% clarified if Daybreaker ever was real.
It would make more sense if we were inside Celestia's head and she was like, I was afraid I might have become like this if I went down. No,
that's actually a really good point.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But I will counter that by saying that if you go back and watch closely in the way that scene progressed, at the point Daybreaker, after Daybreaker appeared, I mean, Starlight was basically just, huddled and cowering and whatever, was like unresponsive for the duration of that encounter from what I recall. But more so than that, Daybreaker, if Daybreaker was supposed to be a manifestation of Starlight's, why was she not attacking Starlight? Daybreaker didn't even really acknowledge Starlight at all, and barely acknowledged Nightmare Moon. Daybreaker was pretty much just talking. All the lines she had pretty much were aimed directly at Celestia. So, and now keep in mind, this is the first time Celestia has ever had this dream walking power. She's never had this magic before. It's always been Luna's thing. So one could argue that that Celestia, due to her inexperience with wielding this magic, allowed that Starlight's dream to be warped by her own insecurities that were going on throughout this deal that she was going through. And furthermore, when Luna showed up, when Celestia grabbed Luna out of her own dream to come try to help with the Daybreaker situation, Luna called out Daybreaker by name without anybody ever telling her that was Daybreaker. To me, that's going to be just a writing continuity plot hole. But to me, in terms of in-universe, that means that Luna has known about Daybreaker. She's seen her before.
Maybe in Celestia's nightmares.
Exactly. Listen, if you want to take this all the way, think about how dark of a place Celestia would have gone to after having to banish her sister. She probably was in a really bad state for a long time before she was able to deal with that and move on. She's got a seed of darkness in her, and it's probably, I suspect that it's something that since Luna returned, she has seen this in Celestia and has been fearing that the same thing might eventually happen to Celestia if this thing isn't that happened to her, if this thing is not kept in check. So she's probably been working to try and keep this thing suppressed and keep it from getting out. But it's deep down in Celestia's subconscious. Now that power transferred to Celestia, that was allowed to surface.
A seed of darkness that's as bright as a solar flare.
If we had an episode involving Luna still trying to get over her past of becoming Nightmare Moon and how she had a dream about being defeated by rainbow-powered versions of the main six, which we still haven't seen yet. If we have an episode like that, and we did, since we had an episode like that, we can obviously think that, Celestia might have a dream or two about her becoming evil, and then we have her great sister telling her to help her out in that matter.
That's just a theory. A pwned theory.
Here we go. Tied it all at the end.
Yeah.
Good job.
Sorry,
so we're maybe taking this just a little bit too seriously, But it's interesting theories to go down. But anyway, back to where did the rabbit trail go? A few future things.
Do you have any episode wish list?
I have one episode wish list. one episode in particular only. You guys seen Powerpuff Girls, correct?
Oh yeah.
The episode where him, Mojo Jojo, Fuzzy Lumpkins, and Princess come together?
Oh yeah.
And you know how that was awesome? I just want an episode involving multiple villains coming together to try to take out the main characters. Like, I love that concept so much, especially since together, singular, they were weak compared to all them. When they come together, they are even more powerful than friendship.
Yeah, it's like the group of super friends. It's super friends against whoever the hell the other group was called.
that led to the Wasteland at the end of season 6.
Yeah.
Oh god.
That was more of like a battle royale between them because they couldn't get along and it just destroyed everything. But
but when when the whole thing of we have a common enemy comes around, and that common enemy is the good guys, they seem to come together.
Well, just take that was one of my thoughts of like, what is Crystal's going to do to form? She has to come up with some kind of crazy plan because she has no army to speak of anymore. Very limited power on her own, especially without the hive at her disposal. So, what's she going to do? It's like, okay,
how to make new friends.
Who do we have still out there? She could find some way to potentially bust Tirac out of Tartarus.
I mean, if Cerberus can just walk out and just end up in Ponyville, I'm pretty sure it's easy to get to Tartarus than we think.
So there's that possibility.
We have
not a whole lot left because I doubt you can turn Discord again.
I wonder.
Grogar.
I do still wonder that the whole Sombra thing. I still want that whole horn scenario to come back up.
He can
I
come
want
back.
him
They
to
can
come
write him back in 10 different ways at least.
Yes.
He can come back. So that if she finds some way to revive Sombra,
please.
some way to
Hashtag
resurrect
bring
it.
Sombra back.
Yeah, and as again, Pony of Shadows could help with this. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that this could go. All I know is that all the ally building that has been going on, with the Yaks and the dragons and the changelings and all these, as we've talked about many times, I refuse to believe that all has been just because. That is leading to something. What
We're gonna have a war.
A
war.
We're gonna have
A pony war.
And I will also say, with dragons on their sides, the villains will have a tough time.
Oh yeah, they're gonna need Grogar for them.
I was about to say Grogar. Please have him in here somewhere.
They referenced him in
I know, that's why I said.
Yeah,
that's why
Grogar
we're
will be
bringing
like
him up.
the king of all evil.
Yes, I want him to bring them all together. Be like, okay, I know how to open a portal to get that guy back. I can go into Tartarus and just bust T-Rex out easily. In fact, I know Cerberus. I'm the one that let Cerberus out to begin with.
But and then,
Cerberus
of course,
is
now on the good guy side, you can factor in the pillars and and that stuff too.
And maybe Scorpion could possibly make a return.
Scorpion. Scorpion.
Yeah.
Just like got news that my old friend over there got busted out again. You needed some help.
I still think it'd be fun if we saw actual sea ponies, or had, if you wanted that. They said the movie's supposed to be canon with the show. We've got the hippogriffs now too, and
if they start to sing the song, I immediately must find Johnny's reaction because I am in for a treat.
Shoopy, shoopy, doof, doof.
Shop, shoop it up, shoop up,
Sheep, shop, doopity bop. It's suddenly turning into Bill Cosby. Sheep, shop, doopity bop, bop, bop.
Wow. But there again, the only reason I bring that up is because in the season finale, there was a book on sea pony etiquette.
Yeah, I mean, they had no reason to say that other than yes, we know they exist. So.
Exactly, and
no other reason than to clarify they exist. No other thing.
Nothing
and I will
else.
also point out that not one point in that entire movie were those creatures referred to as anything other than hippogriffs. They were never called sea ponies.
That's actually
that
true.
Makes me think that there is an actual sea pony race that's natively sea ponies. So
that's actually true. I didn't even think about that.
If the breezes can come back, of course they can come back. But my lord, I just want them not to come back. Right.
Listen, look, John. John, think of it this way. In the original design of the breezes were pretty much minuscule ponies with antennae and butterfly wings. And in Friendship and Magic, they updated the design. Yes, they gave them the voice of the Swedish chef, but they still
and Vegeta was part of them.
Oh God! Really?
Same thing could be done for the sea ponies. Like upgraded design. It could maybe work. Maybe
it could, but I'm skeptical. Of course.
Yeah, I'm very
skeptical. Maybe scorn and not be skeptical later on. All right.
Yeah. Anyway.
All I know is that's the only reason I can. That is also the only reason I can think of why we didn't actually get a recreation of the Shooby-Doo song in the movie is because that wasn't the actual sea ponies.
Why does the Shooby-Doo song need to come back?
Why does it need to?
Piss off some people. That's why they're going to bring it. There.
Hey, you know what? Most iconic things in Gen 1. I mean, it's just.
If FiM has made everything so much better, they could probably take that song, retune it, make it cool. It may be a good song. You never know.
How can I make
Don't forget we have Daniel Ingram.
That's an uphill battle.
Challenge.
No, that's not an uphill battle.
Are you doubting Daniel Ingram? Are you doubting? Don't doubt and don't doubt that man. That man is. Yes.
The Shooby-Doo song has a high ground. How can it take it out?
Challenge for Daniel Ingram. He can pull it off. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Okay.
Okay, well.
I don't know about you guys. I'm about to fall asleep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've covered enough tangents here in this call, but
I just want to quickly ask my question again to Apple Geek and Cabron. Like, what are your wish lists for episodes?
Yeah.
Oh,
not mine.
I can already say mine. I've said it many times. I need a zebra episode. I need a zebra episode on Sakura and like zebra culture. I need to see it.
I only have one thing, so it's I was about to say really short Scootaloo. Everybody knows that, so that's about it for me.
Cabron's like, yeah. Until it happens, then ask him again after that episode's done. Then you'll get him thinking more.
I'm having a really hard time coming at that. I mean, there's lots of like minuscule little things that I'd like to see happen, but it seems like every single one of my like big checkmark items has been checked off this season. So it's really hard to think of what I want to see. You
better think of something for next season.
I definitely will. I mean, I need to do another like a season 8 wish list thing. I just haven't gotten around to doing that yet. I will do that some way somehow before the next season starts. Also
Bad Pony episode. I want a Bad Pony episode.
Oh yeah,
Pony episode.
I can see that. Yeah.
It would be interesting. I mean, I know they exist. I've just never been real big about the fan pony.
The fandom has done a lot of really cute things with the Bat Ponies, so I could definitely see that turning out really well. I don't know exactly. If they have an episode centered around Bat Ponies and they have something to do with mangoes in the episode, I will be able to die happy. That's
mangoes.
Now there was like this stupid. No, there was like a meme going on with mangoes and bat ponies, and like they used to have like their tiny little threads where people would talk about bat ponies and make OCs of them and stuff like that. Mangoes were like a big deal for some reason. I don't know why.
All right then.
Was it a bit like Trixie and what was it like? What the hell?
The crackers?
No, the thing out in the forest. She was eating like what are they called? The small big acorn things. I don't remember what they're called.
Oh yeah, pine cone. The Trixie pine cone thing. There's also the wheels thing with Trixie. Yeah, who knows?
Pine cone.
I guess hates wheels.
Just have fan. I mean, there's a lot of things that I want to happen that I'm sure will happen. I mean, obviously like the Chrysalis thing. I could talk about how I've already mentioned how I want to see episodes with the pillars in them and their interactions and dealings with the new world and stuff that, the new future world and stuff that could be interesting. But I think I'm going to go back to what I mentioned earlier as just a seriously long overdue thing is we need a Diamond Tiara and by extension Silver Spoon episode. I mean, we need I feel like they honestly deserve to have their own moment in the spotlight. We need to know some more about these characters.
Yeah,
because clearly there is a lot more depth to them, a lot more than just the cliche bullies. I want to know more, even if it's just a single one and done episode. Like I want something more there. That and then the other thing that I did, just because I know it's fresh on my mind, I really want them to bring back Lightning Dust because that is just such a significant. I mean, ultimately, what happened with Lightning Dust, she got kicked out of the Wonderbolts. She definitely deserved that because she endangered others and showed no remorse for it. So that was an appropriate course of action. But again, I think there's more to her than just that. And I think now that we've gotten to the point where Rainbow Dash is in the Wonderbolts fully and is one of their most prominent members and such, I feel like there's opportunity for a second chance episode for Lightning Dust. Like maybe she tries out again or something, and now she has to answer to Rainbow Dash because Dash is the one who's the squad leader or whatever. I think there could be a story there and something that both Lightning Dust and Rainbow Dash need to learn. So I think that would make for a really good story episode for Rainbow Dash to go forward on. So, and then, like John said earlier, episode we definitely need that. I mean, I'm glad she's back. I love that she's back. 2 episodes this season, but I was a little disappointed that Health of Information started out looking like it was going to be as a core episode, and then it shifted into Fluttershy.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, Sakura.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, zebra culture.
She's gonna turn into a tree.
It's like, how does the potions work? Zebra's cutie mugs. How does that? Tell us. I need it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this one up, guys. Thank you, everyone, for who is still watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. We, as always, have fun doing these. So, yeah, I guess next one of these will probably be after the season 8 premiere, would be my guess. So, unless something absolutely fantastically amazing happens in the meantime. So, all right. Stay tuned for more stuff from all of us on our own respective channels. And yeah, have a great night, everyone.
Bye. Bye.